Um, Thank you. So we'll do a short round of check-ins. Please take up to 30 seconds. I'll time and I'll tell you when your time is, and the prompt, as always, is in the chat. So you could say any questions or comments from last session, or how's the empathy buddy call you hosted this week, or any short report from facilitating Empathy Circle. So I'll call on people, and I'll start with the participants, then I'll do the trainers. Ralph, will you go first?
Oh, well, I'm not sure that I've done all of my homework. I did have a fantastic buddy call with Graham. I don't think I did the challenges part well, but I'd like to be severely challenged, if I can just say this, what do they call it? Walk the plank kind of thing. So give me your most, put Michelle in my group. She'll be challenging.
Great. Thanks, Ralph. Noted. We'll definitely do that. Sally, how are you?
Yeah, I never liked doing the challenge part, and in the first go round of the training, so maybe I'll improve.
Okay, sweet. Thank you, Sally. Kathy, any check-ins?
So it's good to be here. And I did review the challenges for the second time because I reviewed them a while back. And some of them are very challenging. And I couldn't even watch the Trump phobia for too long. It was like way too much. But so yeah, I'm probably going to do moderate challenges today. So good to be here.
Okay, thank you. Just so you know, you'll have space to talk about the challenges in the group. So now it's more of like just a check-in about how was your homework. So Prasanna.
You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah. So I did complete the homework. I had a call with Ben. It was amazing. We did quite a deep circle with a one-on-one, and then I had a couple of queries around the challenges which he resolved. Second, the empathy circle. I hosted my first circle with my brother, my sister-in-law, and my mother. So it was quite challenging because there were so many emotions, and people talk emotionally in that moment, and someone wants to speak because we are used to a sort of communication, right? So that was quite challenging to be able to hold that whole process with them. But what was even the highlight of it, because we were so comfortable that they agreed in the first phase and gave it their whole heart. So that was the beauty of it also. So had a very good one. I feel more confident.
Thank you so much, Prasanna. Mina?
Well, I had a really great call with Michelle. I learned a little bit more about the wider empathy world and training. So I'm excited about that. I was able to practice empathy, again, not in a circle, because unfortunately, I just don't seem to have the type of people in my life that are interested in doing this, which is a challenge in itself, I guess. But I was practicing. I met with my brother and nephew over the weekend, and was just kind of practicing the skills, of really deep listening and reflective listening, and I think it was just a good time. It was a good way to spend time together. So I'm again trying to move the empathy circle skill set into my personal life. So that was a success today, this weekend.
Thank you so much, Mina. Awesome. Eric.
Hello. So I it was a little sad. I set up an empathy circle with a meditation group that I've hosted in my neighborhood for the past year. And like just shortly before it, everybody dropped off, and it kind of had to be with that a little bit. And also continues to make me think of like how to market this in a way that really people are like excited to show up, and like even if it's a little bit of a risk. And then another thing, I've had a few one-on-ones, particularly advertising it at my neighborhood, and a guy who I've had so much, like there's been so much tension with him on the Facebook group with him and other neighbors. He agreed to actually do a telephone 30-minute call, and I'm very excited about it. That's this afternoon, like shortly after this call. So looking forward and a little nervous to that.
Great, awesome, thank you, Eric. I think Cynthia just joined. We're doing check-ins, Cynthia. So not to put you on the spot, but it's actually your turn. Would you like to check in for 30 seconds about like any questions or comments? It's in the chat, or any like, how was your empathy buddy calls and stuff?
You're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Okay, thank you so much, Dominic. I apologize for being late. I leave for 1 week vacation 1 hour after this call is over. It's been a whirlwind. So sadly, Dean and I couldn't make our buddy call timing work, but I had a beautiful check-in with Michelle. That was wonderful. I couldn't get 4 people, but I led an empathy circle with another person, practiced with another person, and it went really well. She loved it and said, wow, do I feel heard? So that was good experiential work this week.
Okay.
Awesome. Great.
Right.
Thank you, Cynthia. Okay, that's all the participants. So I'm going to go through. Lou, would you like to check in?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm just really excited to be here. It's so interesting to me just seeing your faces and remembering the experiences we had together and the things that you have said. And the things that you said this morning in your check-ins just fills me with really excitement and gratitude that you're all here. So thanks for being here.
Great. Thank you, Lou. Bill?
Yeah, she's not here right now, but I had an empathy buddy call with Cecilia, and it was really nice and sweet, and I felt good. I was able to kind of point her in certain directions, give her certain resources, because she wanted to do an empathy circle of her own. And I've been doing the Saturdays and also the Fridays empathy in schools, and so that's been really exciting. Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you, Bill. Graham, you next.
Thank you, Dominic. I'm thinking, first of all, I'm happy to be here. And just like Lou, I enjoy associating each of you with some of the things that we've done together. I've been trying to get 3 people who I have regular contact with into an empathy circle. But the problem with each of those 3, and they are also my main contacts, they don't listen. They just don't value listening. They listen competitively, and that is their value. And so I'm struggling on that point. Anyway, that aside, I've had some fascinating discussions. I had one-on-one with Eric Shaughnessy, a deep and long discussion with Ralph, and have had 2 empathy buddy sessions with Michelle, and also with my sister. We've resurrected contact after 60 years, so that's quite a time. Anyway, I'm happy to be here, and look forward to all the trouble we can create for you. So.
Great, thank you, Graham. Larry, you're next.
It's great to see all your faces. It's wonderful, and I want to share something. What Eric asked about, how to promote this. It seems like, gee, if anybody does this and they enjoy it, they would just want to do more of it. But, it's funny. Sometimes it's hard, like Graham was saying, to get people to do this. I read something just today and something related to it a while back, but what it was related to meditation, which Eric mentioned. And I see empathy and empathy circles as a form of meditation. And what I wanted to say about that is that research shows that after about 8 weeks of meditation, the human amygdala begins to shrink. And of course, the amygdala is our fight or flight part of our reptilian brain. And one last comment on that, that's been researched and shown to be true. When it comes to politics, the right wing has been tested and shown to have an enlarged amygdala. So this is really bringing us all into a culture of empathy and peace. One amygdala at a time. Thank you. That's my check-in.
Awesome. Thank you, Larry. Michelle, you're next.
Hey, yeah, just sorry, I got the phone off earlier in the session. I just wasn't feeling so well, so hopefully I'll be okay for the rest of the session. I'm not sure. Yeah, it was a really productive week. Like I joined the Monday and the Saturday cohorts, and just really enjoying being part of both of them, and the facilitator sessions on Friday. It was just really brilliant. And then we're getting like an event in 2 weeks' time for trauma sensitive facilitation going. And that just had some really beautiful momentum from so many people in this community that just responded with such an open heart that we're like stepping in to support. And it's just, it shows that, like, you know, people that are in their heart and coming from this place of empathy, that they just, like, the amount of goodness and generosity and everything that you see, it's really touched me deeply. And some gorgeous buddy calls with me and Cynthia, and I'm really, really grateful to Graham for for just all of his experience and guidance as well. So thanks.
Great, thank you, Michelle. And then Ben. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, hi. In this moment, I'm feeling some anticipation, feeling restless, sort of keen to get started. I'm curious and delighted to hear from all of you, and inspired to kind of hear the ways in which you're engaging with this, and kind of this empathy culture stuff is kind of finding a way into your life. And yeah, I'm also noticing, you know, more interest and curiosity around empathy, and beginning to think about, you know, when I'm experiencing it, and, you know, how I recognize that and how I'm working with that. Had a great buddy call with Prasanna and Empathy Circle with colleagues, and look forward to more. Yeah, let's go. Who's left?
Great, thank you, Ben. Before I turn it over to Edwin, I'll check in really quick. I'm also feeling a little restless, but also excited because I like giving the challenges. So I apologize in advance because I know how frustrating it's going to be. But I hope my group wants some hard ones because it's fun. I didn't do a buddy call with Julia. We both didn't line up well, but we're going to do one tomorrow. And yeah, I'm excited. Edwin, could you go?
Yeah, for my check-in, we've been holding Saturday empathy cafes. So it's an open introduction to the training. And I think we had about 40 people last time. And it's a lot of new people coming in from LinkedIn, created a LinkedIn event, and a lot of people have signed up there, just, you know, showing interest. A small percentage actually show up, but it's a good place to come if you're wanting to actually get some practice facilitating breakout rooms, because you always need facilitators there. Actually, this week it's actually turns into a cohort is forming that day on Saturday. So the open intro cafe is on Friday, if you'd like to come to that and kind of try out the facilitating breakout rooms. We never know how many people are going to be there, so it's always good to have a bunch of facilitators. So with that, I think it's Graham is next, right? No, it's Bill for feedback.
Yeah. So I just try to briefly address the feedback here. Looking over one of the main questions, and this is a very common theme, is how to deal with anger in the empathy circle. And I think that the first thing is you try to go to empathy. You try to reflect and then see. Now, that being said, sometimes people who are angry don't want to do that, so that can be triggering. And so again, if that happens and a person just refuses to be mollified in any sort of way, it's good to say that this is a practice. This might not be the day for you to do this. And that doesn't mean you're not empathetic or you're not a good person, but this is the practice we're doing right now. And if you feel, and so you just go back to the structure and don't judge them or just say, it's not right for you right now, and maybe you can come later or something like that. And then somebody asked for like a practice kit. I know that Edwin has a bunch of information, so there are a bunch of resources and things like that. There is the how-to, which goes over the basics of the circle and stuff. And if you familiarize yourself with that, then I think you'll be well positioned. And of course, we can get into it later a little bit more. And then there was another question about what not to do. And I would, my suggestion personally is don't worry too much about what not to do, but obviously don't judge, the usual things you don't do as an active listener. But think about what to do, think about, going forth and then positively engaging with the structure. So, and then the other thing was, what do you do? Like how do you make an intervention if someone's not following? Like one thing was speaking too fast. And so one of the ways is to try to be proactive. Like one of the things that I say is that if I correct you, I'm not criticizing you or your ideas. It's just to try to keep you in the process. So you try to, minimize the judgments there, and then, so if you have some common things that you're expecting, it's always good just to, preload it in the beginning, and that will eliminate some problems, but then also will help it take, because when you have to repeat it, is it like at the beginning, I just made these suggestions. So those are some of the questions, and I see our time is short. I don't want to, belabor too long. You'll have some more time in the breakout rooms to ask specific questions. Thanks. And who do I pass to? Graham.
You muted, Graham.
So my purpose here is just to outline the what will happen in the breakout rooms. So we're imagining breakout rooms with 4 people, a trainee, I don't know the title, but there'd be myself, there'd be a trainer, for example, in my case, it would be Bill, and then 2 other people. And Bill and the 2 others would act as trainee facilitators. And and here we actually exercise our challenges, and you have you choose what level of difficulty you want. In other words, none, low, medium, or high, and we will attempt to honor your request. Anyway, so for each facilitator, you introduce the practice, and then you go straight into facilitating. And the facilitator recommends a topic, and the set's 3 minutes for each speaker. And at the end of that period, which is going to be approximately 25 minutes, I would say, we then have 5 minutes to recap the experience. And then we repeat that with the second and the third trainee facilitator. And so with that, Edwin will now release us into the breakout rooms.
Can I add one word to what Graham said?
Sure.
So I just want to say that, the purpose of us doing this thing of offering challenges, if you feel ready for it, is just that, everyone here in the class is, very empathic, and people have a lot of listening skills. So the circles that you do in the class, generally don't have much difficulty in them. And so you don't get a chance to practice as a facilitator, like what happens if somebody is upset or somebody doesn't like the process or something like that. And so that's the purpose of offering the challenges. But it's very important that we want to, we don't want to overwhelm you. We don't want to. So if you're not ready for challenges, that's fine. Don't worry about it. If you would like challenges, that's fine, and you can let us know how much. But yeah, so I just wanted to put that context on it.
Thank you, Lou. And so it's over to you, Edwin.
Okay, yeah, so I created the rooms for sort of an uneven number. So there'll be 3 groups with 4 and 1 Dominic. Yours will just be with 3 participants. So yeah, it's just, so you'll have a lot more time for each of the participants facilitating their circles. So here we go, and we're going for about 95 minutes, and I'll give maybe about a 10-minute warning before we come back into the rooms. So here we go, and opening all the rooms, and there'll be 1 group staying here. Ben will be here. I'll be here with you, and there'll be 4 of us in this group. And there we go. And Cynthia, oh, there you should be. There we go. Okay.
Hi, welcome. So I think, I think everybody's here who's meant to be here. There's 4 of us. Sally, Cynthia, I don't think we've spoken before, so glad to be in a breakout room with you both, and looking forward to the 90 minutes. So what would be a good way to start? So I guess if there's 4 of us or 3, so that's about half an hour. If we have 80 minutes, so around 20 minutes each, if there's 3 of us, I'm including Edwin, and you'll see why. And what the structure we're going to work with, I think, is whoever's facilitating first is going to do an intro, practice an intro, and then go straight into 20 minutes facilitating an empathy circle. And so you'll let me know, let Edwin know kind of what level of challenge you'd like, or if there are any specific challenges that you'd like us to bring. And
you're giving the challenges as facilitator. You'll be doing the challenge giving.
I'll be doing the challenges. Yeah. Okay. And then with a short debrief after each one, learning points, reflection, debrief. Does anyone, maybe I can invite Edwin to do an intro first, and we can start with that.
Yeah, I'll model one. So welcome everyone to this empathy circle. So glad you're here. I really enjoy this empathy circle process. See, it's really important. It's really been meaningful in my life. And so I'm really glad that you're taking part. It really helps build mutual connection and understanding, and I find well-being. So in the context that I understand here is that none of you have taken part in an empathy circle and that you're not familiar with it. So I'll give an overview of how the practice works. And actually, I'm going to put in a link here to a one-page instruction that you can also reference. That you don't have to look at it now, but it's a one-page instruction that you can always open it and just keep it open in the window, if you would like to have that as a reference. So I'll just explain the basic process of the empathy circle. So with the empathy circle, there's different roles. There's the facilitator role, which is what I am. I'm just holding the practice. I'm a participant like everyone else. And then we have a speaker who's going to be speaking on the topic, which is, I'm going to put the topic in here. Let me just put the topic in as well into the chat. And our topic is, we have a little phone going here in the background. Sorry about that. So what are your thoughts and concerns about being an empathy circle facilitator, or whatever is alive for you? So you as the speaker will select someone to listen to, and they will be the active listener. You'll share a little bit on this topic or whatever is alive for you. And you want to pause after, maybe 30 seconds or 45 seconds, or not after you shared an idea, to pause and let the listener reflect back their understanding of what you've said. And the goal is really for you as the speaker to be heard to your satisfaction. So, so you speak a little bit, you pause, you get the reflection on what you said. And as a listener, you're just reflecting back your understanding of what you heard the speaker say. As speaker, you check out, did they get what I was saying? If they did, you continue saying what you were, continuing your train of thought. If they didn't understand, you can maybe rephrase what you said, say it in other words, say it again, get that reflection. It goes back and forth like that we're having 3-minute turns. And if you see the time, I'll hold up a time here. Once your 3 minutes is up, and at that point as the speaker, you want to pause and kind of wrap up what you were saying, get your final reflection. And at that point, the listener becomes the speaker, and you will select who is your listener. And then you speak, get your reflection, back and forth like that. And and then we just continue for the time allotted, which will be about 15-20 minutes. It'll be 20 minutes. So with that, if you feel a little anxious to begin with, don't worry, that's sort of normal. You're doing it for the first time, but the best way is just to sort of jump right in and just to do the process. So let's jump in and get started. So, and I'll be the first listener just to sort of model the listening. So again, our topic is, what are your thoughts and concerns about being an empathy circle facilitator or whatever's alive for you? And I'm going to bring up the stopwatch, which I'd forgotten to set up here. So give me a second to set up the stopwatch for 3-minute turns. 3, there we go. So, okay, who would like to start? And I'm listening. Okay, Cynthia, go ahead. And you're muted.
Ben and Sally, is that all right? Great. Okay.
No, I'll be the first listener just to model it. So yeah.
Sure, I'm still trying to set up my visual.
Okay. Are you okay with being a silent listener on this one, Sally, or would you rather speak?
I would like to, just as a facilitator, I'd like to model it since you're not all familiar with the practice. I'll just be the first. Oh, you're asking her if she would like to speak instead.
Yeah, that's what
she's getting. Maybe you could start since she's still getting settled.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let me move.
Did Prasanna? Did you need something, Prasanna?
She got dropped out, and she's coming back in. So you should be able to. Or do you see the? You should be able to get to your room, which is room 1. Are you seeing a button there?
Oh, yeah, join.
Yeah, there you go. This is the weight room here. So if people drop out, they're going to come into this weight room. So just give you a little heads up about that.
Got it. So I'll go ahead and get started then. Okay. I'm super excited about facilitating, just zero doubt about that. Super excited. But Edwin, you know this.
Oh, I messed up here. My challenge level, I forgot to say, whatever you feel comfortable, give whatever challenge you like, Ben. So let me just say that. I forgot to mention.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Let's, can I move up in difficulty? Can you go easy challenge level first, Ben? And then, oh, wait.
He's going to be giving me challenges. I'm going to.
Yeah.
So I messed up here. So what I'm hearing, you're super excited about the facilitation. Yeah. So hearing some real enthusiasm there.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I've noticed when I was hearing other speakers, other people like me who are beginners talking about what it was like for them this week, I thought, I've only asked people that I thought actually were interested in empathy or that I thought showed empathic qualities. And so I've gotten literally nothing but, oh my God, what is this? Tell me about it. And that builds the excitement.
So you've been reaching out to people who you think might be interested or have this empathic skill. And because of that, you've been getting a lot of excitement and real questions from people about it.
Yeah. And so I haven't gone for the, these people really need it. I've gone for I think these people might be really open to it. So I've had maybe a different kind of response. It's been exciting. One thing that is a challenge for me, and I think I don't know if Ben and Sally know, I have a concussion. I just have concussion symptoms that continue. So while it's invisible, one of the things is when there are distractions, when people are dropping in or, different things, I'm like, boop, boop, boop. And so as a participant, I can deal. As a facilitator, that will be one of my challenges, I think.
So you're still having concussion symptoms. And because of that, if there's sort of distractions, it really affects you and you feel it going forward, that's going to be a challenge to consider. And the other part that you start off with, just that enthusiasm that, hey, people are interested because you're sort of reaching out to the people who already have some interest and might have some interest.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, the distracted and getting my thought back. I mean, I have that as a teacher sans concussion anyway. And so it's something I honestly have to practice with, when they like, what's that crackling? What's that? Da, 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 da. That's something I have to in life be able to bring my attention back to what I was doing at hand and go, we're back. That will be my practice.
Okay, so your practice is really in general too, is to, if there's a distraction, how do you bring yourself back to where you are. And that's a real practice for you. And that was your time as well.
Yes, and thank you so much, Edwin. I feel very heard.
Okay, I'll speak to Ben then.
Listening.
Yeah, there's sort of in terms of challenges in facilitating, like, you know, we do the Saturday group, but there's all these new people coming in, so they don't know what's going on. There's sort of a level of anxiety and confusion with everything, you know, and having, so I noticed in myself, I have this level of confusion and anxiety kind of holding that. And it's just, you know, it's kind of, I enjoy the challenge in a sense. So if you want to just reflect back what you understood that I said, Ben.
Yeah, you're talking about the new things you're doing on Saturday, and I think there are some other groups that are new, and yeah, recognizing that there's a kind of an anxiety and confusion that comes with that, and you're feeling that, and also kind of enjoying the challenge that's posing.
But I also enjoy when everyone knows how to do the practice, and you just get to enjoy it. There's no stress. It's just like there's this nice, calm, deep listening, you know, space when everybody knows how to do the practice, is experienced with it, and I kind of enjoy that as well.
But also, so you also enjoy, like, if everybody is very familiar with the practice, then it feels like a still place, and a kind of it sounds like you're describing things running smoothly and get to a place of kind of deep listening.
Yeah, but then if we really want to change the culture in the world, we're going to have to address that anxiety aspect. You know, it's like, it's because, you know, 99.9999999, etc. % of the world is not familiar with doing this. So, you know, if we want to bring the world along with, you know, learning these practices, we're going to have to be able to address the you know, these challenges, and so it's important. Yeah.
But you're saying that actually, yeah, addressing these challenges, addressing that anxiety and confusion, and doing this work with people who are not familiar with the practice is important because you want to take the world with you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good. So it's good to have sort of some capacity for ambiguity, anxiety, stress, you know, have some capacity for being able to hold that.
So I think you're saying also, so one of the reasons you like working in conditions of anxiety and confusion is because it also builds your capacity to hold tension, to hold stress.
Yeah, that's close. Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks. Sally, would you listen?
Sure. Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
What is the thing that's the distraction this time?
We don't know what you just listen to Ben. You don't have to worry about anything else. It's just reflect back what Ben is saying, and the distraction, Ben might be giving distractions for me, but you don't have to worry about it at this point.
Okay.
One of the concerns I have about being an empathy circle facilitator is, yeah, in a sense, is that I don't have enough concerns. So I feel like, well, really, I could just be here and something would happen. And if it didn't, that would be okay. I feel like if I really cared about this, then maybe I'd have more concerns. So I'm worried because I think, well, since I don't have these concerns, or they don't seem immediately present, maybe it means I don't care about this.
So I get the impression that you don't really have concerns about empathy, and since you don't really have concerns, then you're not sure maybe why you're here. Did I get that right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so. I mean, some of those, yeah, some of what you said, I recognized myself as saying, and some of it seemed new, but it seemed new in a way that helped me understand what I was saying.
So some of what I said was what you said, but some of it was new, which helped to understand what you might have said.
Yeah, that's it. And I think one of the things that happened when you asked me, it's like, oh, did I get that right? Is I immediately thought that I knew. You weren't telling me what I was saying, or you weren't telling me what I meant, which had me feeling kind of empowered.
So you felt empowered by me speaking about something that you thought you knew, but you didn't really know until you heard it reflected.
Yeah, maybe I can clarify that. I think it was more your quest, well, both. Yeah, I think that's true. And also when you asked me, like, is that what you meant? Is that what you're saying? It made me feel like you wanted to understand, that you cared to understand what I was saying.
So it was by the way I said what I said that you sensed that I cared what you were saying and about how you felt and what you were exploring.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard. Yeah, over to you.
Okay. I didn't quite get your name this time, Sharon. You're
Cynthia.
Yeah. Cynthia. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Cynthia. I want to talk about my experiences with my people that I talked with this week, and bridging the gap between comfort and discomfort. People that I thought would, shun me. Cynthia.
You're muted, Cynthia.
Thank you. So Sally, it sounds like you'd like to talk about your experience in practicing the Empathy Circle method this week with different people, and that you would like to, that you've been thinking about comfort versus discomfort, and that you want to, or that you were, and tell me if I get this right, you were concerned about people who you thought might shun you. Did I get that right?
Exactly. And I was expecting a no every single time. And okay, every single person actually, yeah, I even bridged the divide with one Republican friend who was totally excited. And just the one friend that had rejected me before was, into it just as long as it was with me and not risking, contact with strangers.
So it sounds like you expected to have your offer rejected by everyone you put it out to, but actually even your Republican friend or colleague or acquaintance, I didn't quite catch that, but that person even accepted your invitation. And you had another person accept an invitation who was, who you truly thought would reject the invitation, who said, yes, I'll do it as long as it's.
I think she got frozen. Yeah, so in that case, I'm not sure we can put me on pause, and it's
Go
probably
ahead. I can step in. So,
okay. So anyway, she didn't want to do empathy. But
so one person didn't want to do an empathy circle, you're saying?
Yeah, she was afraid, but when I offered to do it individually with her, no one else, then she was on board and even called me back. I don't know, it got disconnected, and our phone gets disconnected a lot.
Okay, so she didn't want to do an empathy circle with the group, but she wanted to do one-to-one with you, and there was a disconnection that just the connection got broken on your
Right,
line.
and she
And that was
called
the
back.
time too. Oh, that's sorry, good. Fine.
Okay, I feel fully heard.
Okay,
And
I'll speak to Ben then.
then Cynthia comes back soon.
Listening, yeah.
Yeah, I hope Cynthia comes back soon. That's the issue with technology. There's always technical glitches. That's another she is. I'll admit, yeah. Yeah, I'll have her pick up to speak then. Hey, Cynthia. So I just did the final reflection for Sally. So it's your turn to, if you want to select your listener.
Thank you. How do you like that challenge? Unstable internet that goes down randomly. So, okay. So I'm the speaker and I select my listener. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Ben, would you be open to listening?
Yes, listening.
Great. So, one of the things, well, I mean, really, one of the things is I'm suddenly having all kinds of trouble with my Wi-Fi. And so that, frankly, is one of the primary things that I don't know that I'm worried about, but just that is really out of my control besides calling my Wi-Fi company. So that's something I have on my mind.
So you're worried about your Wi-Fi?
Yeah. And not much I can do about it. And what I actually know is where I am. So I'm a university professor, and I taught much of last year like this on Zoom. And what I would say to students is, listen, Wi-Fi goes down. Mine might go down. Yours might. No big deal. Don't freak out. It happens. Come back in. We've got you. And that's what Edwin just did with me. And I watched that. That's wonderful because I'm like, I was listening to Sally and I'm gone. But of course it's just taken care of.
You're pretty experienced with dealing with Wi-Fi problems, and it seems like Edwin is too.
That's right. That's right. So besides my, what I mentioned earlier, my kind of my thing about, needing to like bring my attention back is that I think that I'm ready for different levels of challenges when it's my turn to facilitate. But at the same time, last week I was in Lou's group, Lou and Michelle's group, and I realized really, though I'm an experienced university professor, there are so many things going on at once when you're facilitating, from timekeeping to, different things going on, that there are a lot of there's more to kind of be watching and hanging on to than I thought, and I need more practice.
You don't want to make too many assumptions, but you think you're ready pretty much for any challenge that you could face, and it wouldn't be, anything like what you're facing in your university professorship kind of role.
Yeah, that's right. And I also, I need more practice, like I do. I have this level of experience that I think, oh my gosh, here I may, fall on my face with the first challenge, which I feel very comfortable with because I know this is such an accepting and wonderful group. But I think it's really smart to do challenges this week because I know how that can throw a process.
And so even if you kind of fell flat on your face with the challenges, you wouldn't really mind too much, or you'd go with it, roll with it.
And that was the time. So, yeah,
Thank you so much, Ben. I feel very heard.
Thanks. That means, sorry, am I the speaker?
You're the speaker. First thing you do is select your listener.
Edwin, would you listen?
I'm listening.
Thanks. Okay, so Yeah, so I suppose one thing about listening is that, yeah, what I wanted to say, yeah, I suppose one thing about listening is you don't really have to think about what to say.
Yes, you're noticing that with listening, you don't have to worry about what you're going to say. You're just listening to the other.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I suppose there's a kind of concern with that as well, is sort of in this practice. Is there a kind of a de-skilling that happens as well? Like, are there certain responses that I'm not cultivating in this practice, which I'll lose?
Mm-hmm. So you have some concerns that just by listening, that you're gonna sort of de-skill yourself. You're gonna be losing some kind of skills that maybe you're concerned about. Feel some concern about losing those.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the time too.
Yeah, and that's the 20 minutes time as well.
Okay.
My time has just gone off. Should we, what time is it? We're about 10 to, so that was 20 minutes. Should we take a few minutes to debrief? Edwin, if you, as a participant, is there, I mean, how did that go?
Yeah, it went okay. It's like, every time I give the how-to presentation, I always do it differently. It's like, and it's like, you don't need, there's so many pieces I always forget, but it seems to not really matter. It's like you just kind of get into it and you kind of do the practice, keep people on practice, and people pick it up pretty easily, usually, yeah. Unless, yeah. And so it seemed to go well. There was, we had the challenges of, people dropping out, people dropping in. So that adds some sort of challenge, kind of shifts the energy, it feels a little anxiety producing, but you just kind of go with it. And I forgot to really, say, you could have asked, what challenge level do you want? 0, low, medium, high. So I didn't really feel much challenge there was given. So could have just I messaged you and said, hey, feel free to send me some challenges, but it didn't seem like you're really doing any serious challenges. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and so, and yeah, that's and it sounds like you didn't really find any of that challenging. Actually, those where it sounds like you're kind of in your flow, in your rhythm.
Yeah.
Cynthia, Sally, is there was there anything there that you wanted to comment on, or anything you wanted to share impact on, or debrief, or give feedback on?
Sally, what about you? Would you like to go first?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I would just like to say it's okay, Edwin. The challenges, maybe easing into it for the first go around. And it seemed like we already had challenges with Cynthia's frozen computer. And I don't know, it just seemed like things were happening. There was, well, Ben didn't really want to do empathy. I thought that was fantastic. And then he paused. That was also fantastic. It happens all the time. I mean, a person will kind of try to get out of doing empathy, but I think Edwin handled that super by listening. And yeah, so we're all working on those listening skills. So
Okay, thanks, Sally.
Thanks, Sally. Cynthia?
Yeah, how neat, Sally. I love those observations. I mean, Edwin's just so smooth, you know, like my internet goes out and Edwin, you're like, I listened, you know, no big deal. You know, you're so smooth that it's great to watch and know that, I mean, whatever Sally or I doesn't do in our turns, you'll be supportive of and accepting of, but we're also kind of watching the advanced level skill at work, which is really wonderful. So I love seeing that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cynthia. So who's next?
Ben,
Sally
I didn't hear feedback from you.
Oh, right. Yeah, is there anything in particular you want feedback on? Is there?
Oh, just how was the flow of it? And there was a point where you were, you know, just thinking a lot, which is fine. It's your time to think. You don't have to say anything. I had thought of doing an empathic reflection. I hear you're really doing some deep thinking, searching for what you're wanting to say. So I mean, I had that crossed my mind. I didn't say it, but so anyway, I was just wondering what was your experience of the?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I was yeah, I think in that moment I was stretching the pause a little bit. I think, you know, that sometimes I would do that anyway and take my time. But I was stretching that a little bit because I wondered whether it would become challenging. But my experience in that moment was mixed. Like I would have liked you to call me back. It's like, hey Ben, you know, or some response, you know, I'm hearing, you know, that you're taking your time to think. But actually also really appreciated the time, was my experience in that moment. So, of two minds.
Yeah, right. Thanks. Okay. Thanks everyone for the feedback.
Cynthia, Sally, do either of you know that you're ready to go next?
Sally, what's your preference? Would you like to go first or second? I'm good with whatever.
You mean with taking over from what Edwin did as the facilitator and the instructions and all that? Okay. Yeah, I may have the more training, even though I kind of botch up listening and communicating, but sure.
Great. Okay. Wonderful.
I'll leave the timing with you then, Sally. So if you want to
anyone else but me, I have an iPhone and my clock is back there and it doesn't work. Is there a problem with someone else's timing?
Yeah, I guess I don't think there's a problem, except I guess as a trainee or as a facilitator, for me that's kind of one of the kind of logistical parts that I want to practice. But if you don't have a timer, I can time, so I can time for you. That's fine if that works. And so do you want to practice the intro, and I'll time the 3-minute rounds, and I'll also time the 20-minute arc of the whole circle.
Okay. Hi everyone. Yeah, I've been learning a lot through empathy. And
in terms of challenge level, are there any particular challenges that you want, or is like what sort of?
Just maybe average level, not
average, yeah.
You know, not 5 but 3. Okay.
And I just want to invite you and empower you as well during, if you want to pause and kind of come out of the circle to talk about what's happening. Just want to invite you to do that. Yeah, over to you.
I am not following you. I thought I was doing an introduction. Are we going back to kind of a, okay. So, hi everyone. I am, I've been doing this facilitation for a couple months, and I went through the first training. I've been able to reach people I never thought possible. I think we can bridge the divide and achieve a lot with this. And it's also an enormous amount of relaxation and fun. So just a little bit of explanation of how to do the empathy circle. There are 4 to 7 participants, but actually it could be 2 to 7. Anyway, there is a speaker, an active listener, and 2 silent listeners typically. The speaker will speak to the active listener, and then the active listener will reflect. The speaker will decide on whatever's alive with them, or on, let's say, an assigned topic that the group decides upon. Anyway, so there will be a timer, and time can be anywhere from 3 minutes, 5 minutes, sometimes even 15 minutes, depending on the size of the group or interest. And I would recommend that when the reflection is done, okay, first of all, no judgment, no asking questions, no interruptions, or just listen with the idea in mind that the person who's speaking is actually hearing what they said right back to them. So they're learning exactly from what you've said. And that's your entire job. No judgment, no sympathy or anything like that. Okay. So pause about every 3 to 4 paragraphs. With some people, you might want to pause more or less, depending on skill level or interest. I don't know. In my case, I need lots of pauses. And other people will want you to talk, for more, but absolutely don't talk for 3 minutes, until your time's done. You have to pause. And at the end, there will be like a little sign or bell that rings. And if the person is following and reflecting, at the end of your speaking turn, you can say, I felt fully heard, or you can clarify in some final revisions to understanding can be done. And then the role is taken to the active listener to be the speaker. The active listener, as the speaker, picks a new active listener who then does the same thing. And then it goes around in a circle. And in the case of this practice, it's for 3 minutes. So I'm not sure I got everything, but I think so. So just have a good time, and meet people you've never met from all across the world.
Yeah, super. And do you want to kind of debrief that and some feedback on that before we go into the empathy cycle, or do you want to go straight
Yeah,
into the
if
empathy
there's
cycle?
things I missed and presentation, all of that.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was very clear. I liked the way at the beginning that it sounded like you were speaking from your experience and also saying why it was important to you, or like what your experience with it was. I really liked that. And yeah, I think it was detailed and clear. And yeah, by the time you got to the end, I felt like ready for some sort of journey, or ready for some kind of discovery, an encounter. I liked it. Edwin?
Yeah, there was one comment, one thing I made a note of, is you said that the group decides the topic. As a facilitator, it's good to say this is what the topic is. You didn't say I don't know what topic you wanted to have, but
okay,
that you said it, because the worst thing to happen is, oh, let's now decide what the topic is. And the whole hour will get eaten up with people talking and arguing about what the topic is. So it's good to have the topic already. You give the topic, and you don't also, so you be very specific and sort of in control, in charge. The topic is blah, blah, blah. I don't know what your topic was. And that we have 3-minute terms. It's not like maybe we have 3, maybe we have 5. You just be specific, because you don't want to open it up for a big discussion, because you want to get people into the circle as soon as possible, and to have whatever discussion they have in the circle. So that's it. And I've seen that happen with other groups. It opens up and the whole group just kind of falls apart because everybody's arguing about what they're going to do. So get right into it. Be assertive. This is what we're going to do. Let's get started.
Okay, so you just said be assertive, pick a topic as the facilitator, pick a time, and don't allow for a discussion about a variation of what you, the facilitator, decided.
That's it, exactly. Right on the mark. Yeah.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
I thought it was good. I thought it was helpful, and I'll defer to the other two gentlemen, for those helpful comments about the details. So I'll just say good job, and those were great notes.
Oh, well, I would just, if there's anything, just let me know.
Yeah, I don't really have anything, so thanks for that.
Sure. Sometimes after you learn, let me just say that I have made every single mistake in the book.
Thank you for that. That's incredibly kind.
That's why I know.
So do you want to, Sally, do you want to lead us into an empathy circle now? I can do the timing. And do you want to choose a topic and get us started?
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do an empathy circle, and with a 3-minute timer, and I'm picking a topic of what is alive in you about just something that happened today. So with that, I'm gonna call on Ben to speak. And Ben, you can choose someone to be your active listener.
Can I just suggest that you be the first listener, because this is a group that's not familiar with the practice. We're role playing, and you want to be the first listener so that you can model how to listen well. So I say, I'll be the first listener, and yeah, just.
Okay. So if that's the case, I don't have a pause. I'm just gonna go like that. So in case Ben, you run over. Ben, I'm asking you to be the speaker and I'll be the active listener. And the time is 3 minutes.
Thanks. I'm just starting the timer, and yep, I'm ready. That's 3 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Something I remember from my day, something that's been on my mind, is kind of reaching out to people and not hearing from them. And so, like, for some reason, in this moment, I'm able to, I could list them. Maybe there'd be like 3 people or 4 people who I've been trying to contact and waiting to hear back from them. And that's been on my mind recently. And it's been on my mind today, partly because I've heard from other people, but not from these particular 3 people who I'd like to return my calls.
Okay, so in this group, you feel like you are reaching out with people and that they will listen, but you have reached out to 3 people and they haven't returned your call or your communication. And there's kind of a level of unease and that or discomfort, and you kind of want to move beyond that.
Yeah, that's right. And so with one of them, I text, well, you know, I think I gave them 2 weeks to reply to an email or something. 2 weeks. And then sent them a text saying, maybe you're having difficulty making a decision about this, so we could talk about it. I'm available tomorrow or later in the week. And that was like a week ago, and they still haven't replied.
So the one guy that you are a person that you emailed, you gave him a time period of 2 weeks and they haven't replied, and you're still waiting for that email.
Yeah.
It gave him 2 weeks, and I believe it's beyond that time by a week, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, and I can clarify, when I say I gave them 2 weeks, I don't mean I kind of stipulated you have to reply in 2 weeks. I mean, like 2 weeks later, I'm still kind of twiddling my thumbs. But I found myself kind of making up stories, like, what does this mean? You know, why haven't they replied? And then, and yeah, I do feel uneasy about it. I also feel sad and frustrated. And like some of me also feels kind of disrespected, like, but yeah, that's the timer.
Okay, so you feel like you can't believe it's been 2 weeks and they didn't reply. And so you feel a number of different things: saddened, frustrated, and even insulted. And it's a combination of these feelings that are putting you in this state of mind you're in right now. And it's and then
thank you. Yeah, I feel.
Yeah, you would say, I feel fully heard, or then you can fix it with whatever I didn't say right.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm the speaker. I'm gonna speak to you, Elizabeth.
Cynthia?
Jeez. I don't know why you look like an Elizabeth, but
no worries, no worries.
No, I said your name out loud. So all right. Okay. I just want to go along with the same vein. And my girlfriend has reached out, and one of her friends just kind of walked away and ignored her, and she's, you know, really hurt and in a lot of pain. Then she called, you know, to connect, no connection. And so anyway, I kind of have that going on today. Oh man, I talked to the contractor and he dumped the job of the house back on our shoulders and just won't do the job. The guy that we had a couple of days ago, we spent $180 just on a hotel to be there at 8:30, and he was a no-show. So the contractor fired him, and so we're on our own.
So it sounds like you talked with your girlfriend and she had somebody who she had reached out to and who wouldn't get back with her. And it seems like that may be a situation that's fraught with some.
I'm just wondering, what are we meant to do? Like when what is our role? Like
Did you want to take this, Sally? Oh my God. I thought you were giving a challenge. No, wait. Were you given a challenge, Ben?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm asking. Yeah, I'm just asking. Is it just you and Cynthia who are going to be talking now, or can we join in?
Oh, hey Ben. Just to let you know, it's just the speaker and the active listener, and then there are 2 silent listeners. So in the role of the silent listener, you can make comments when it's your turn. Okay, let's keep going. Cynthia.
Yeah, so the second part of what you were talking about, Sally, it sounds like you had some real frustration with a contractor. So you both were out money, $180 for a hotel room, and the person was a no-show, and now you are left out that money, but still no contractor for the house. So that it sounds like you're feeling some frustration.
Yeah, it's just my husband and I, we can't get a worker. So hoping that the guy that did a bang up job on the house that got fired comes back. He may have crystal meth problems, but I just at this point don't care. I just want him back.
So it sounds like there's someone who was really effective who got fired, and evidently this individual has some crystal meth problems, but you don't care about that. You just want him back as doing the work.
Right. So the contractor fired him yesterday. Okay, I feel fully heard. Okay, so you are the new speaker, and you pick an active listener. Typically, you choose the person that hasn't had the turn yet.
And can you clarify the question again for me that we're doing today, Sally?
That was ever alive today with you.
Okay. Edwin, would you listen?
Listening.
Great. So I mentioned earlier I'm going on a trip today, and I leave about an hour after this is over, and so I am a little scattered today.
Yeah, so you mentioned you're doing a trip like in an hour after this is over, and you're feeling scattered, I guess, for all the planning and everything you have to do.
Yeah, so I keep writing things down, grab the nail polish remover, there's the things that go through your head. at the same time, these are 6 of my best women from undergrad or uni, and we have not all been together. I've seen each of them individually over the years, but we've not all been together in about 30 years.
So these are real longtime friends. You've seen them individually, but you're all getting together for, all together. They haven't been together, and it's like, sounds like you're pretty excited about it. And
super excited, and we're going to my friend's compound. I will just say she's kind of richer than God, and this is one of her country homes on the eastern shore of Maryland, and we've been assured that reading books or going off to the pool or going to see the ocean or just sitting on the screened-in porch or anything that we want to do that feels alive in us at the time is what we can do. And I feel really excited to either do that or literally nothing.
So you're doing it at one of the friends who's just very wealthy, sounds like a really beautiful place near the ocean, pool. And so you're all free to do what you would like, read books or just hang out, or just, so you're pretty excited about maybe just doing nothing even.
Yeah, you got that right. And I realize how much pre-pandemic, I was an extreme traveler. I would often travel for work, and then I'd tack on 3 or 4 or 5 days after that in vacation. And as we are not doing that, and there's not only been no work travel, I've so rarely left my house compared to what it was like before. So I'm realizing my level at first of anxiety about this trip, just in a get out of pandemic way. But now that it's here, I'm so excited. I'm feeling like, I feel like myself again.
So you were a real big traveler before the pandemic, always going on trips, putting in extra time. It's a real traveler, and then haven't been doing that. Now you're getting back into it on this trip, and you're starting to feel like your old self again, the traveler and the explorer. Excited.
That's right. That's right. Is it time? Is this the time, Ben?
Yeah, that's time. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so. Thank you so much, Edwin. I feel really heard.
Okay, then I'll speak to Ben.
Listening.
Yeah. For me, what's sort of alive is, all the organization for this, today's session. We had 5 people who said they couldn't make it, plus 2 people didn't show up. So we're talking about 7 of the participants, and I'm kind of, feeling somewhat irritated about it, because one of the things that try to make a point about, taking part in the course is, agreement to show up. So, feeling a little irritated about it.
You're finding something tricky?
I would say not really tricky, irritation. It's more feeling a little irritated.
Yeah.
Just reflection is just reiterating what you said.
Just reiterating it, like irritated. You're feeling irritated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. I feel better hearing that reflected back. I felt kind of empty without that reflection. So good to get that reflection. So I'm thinking of we have this cohort on Saturday, so I'm just thinking of really making it a point, just that people have to just really reiterate, that, hey, if you're taking part in this, it's, it's like, you got to show up, unless you make an exception. There's a couple of people that had said in advance that they were, that they couldn't make it. I said, okay, at least we know one time, you're not going to make it. And so we'll make an exception, but and somebody has not shown up in other groups and just like not shown up. So I'm really going to have a word with this person. It's like, okay, what's going on here? So Yeah.
Yeah, sounds difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could just reflect back what I was saying, I didn't really feel heard there.
What? Reflect back all of that. What?
Yeah, at least the essence of it. Yeah.
It's like people aren't showing up. It's difficult.
And there's one person I think I want to have a real conversation with, because she, in the previous cohort, she was part of that and didn't show up.
Sounds like someone's in trouble.
They're in trouble. Yeah, there's I'm also thinking about that aspect when you come down and say, hey, here are these agreements, here are these rules, and it's like this energy of, oh, now you're in trouble, now you're being the authoritarian or something like that. So there's also that kind of that energy that I'm thinking about too. So. But then I don't want to, that's the time. But then I don't want to just, it's like be enabling people. What do they call that? Where you just kind of enable people's disrespect or what have you. So yeah, I just get a final reflection on that one.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Doesn't sound like a good choice.
I didn't.
Okay. Can I just
I don't feel fully heard, but I guess we're out of time.
let me just go ahead and
Yeah, I think that's the full arc. That's our 20 minutes of that arc.
Right, but unfortunately, Edwin didn't feel fully heard. So I'm just gonna, give you an opportunity to, maybe in a sentence reflect. And if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine.
Yeah, sure. Okay. To reflect. So I think you were saying, Edwin, that one thing you're irritated by is when if people have made a commitment to something and they're not showing up, then you don't want to enable that and enable that kind of disrespect. So there's somebody you're going to have a word with, and there's something you're going to do around that.
Yeah, I feel heard enough. Thanks. Thanks for enforcing that, Sally.
Okay, can I just go and say the obstacles were fantastic?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it
good
really
job, Ben.
looks like Ben is a fully experienced person in all of this. I kind of thought he was a beginner, but now I realize he's a master, because not only did he ask questions to Edwin, he was a little obstinate and unwilling to participate, which was fantastic. I don't know, I just loved, I know I moved my hands around. I tried to do something, when Cynthia was not too big, but fantastic and really impressive.
How did it go for you, Sally? What was it like for you? What did you find difficult, or what went well?
Well, listening to you, it was like, my heart dropped to the floor. Then it started, going up and down. Like, oh my God, I was really stressed out. But I don't really like the challenges. And right. It was important for me. Thank you.
And it seemed like you handled them well and got things back on track and kind of stayed in the lead.
Thank you, but it was a miracle.
Edwin, any feedback, any impact, any?
I just want to keep us on time here, so I think it was you kept him on track there. I didn't feel heard in that, and I felt the frustration of it, and I appreciate, Sally, you going after him, making sure he kind of heard me. So yeah, it felt good.
And next time I'm gonna have to, I know I have a watch. I don't have a stopwatch.
Oh, yeah. That was the thing, is as a facilitator, you got to be able to have a watch or even a little timer, an egg timer, something, so you can kind of keep track of it. So
I'll figure it out. I just, yeah. Okay, so the next person I would say is, I'm not going to say Elizabeth, even though I want to. Cynthia.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So should I start with the intro?
Yeah, do you want to do an intro and then take us straight into Empathy Circle? And what's your level of challenge? You happy with any level of challenge?
I guess, I mean, don't go like super advanced, you know, don't go super advanced, but like, yeah, I mean, maybe intermediate and whatever, like maybe I can handle it or maybe I can't, but we'll see what happens.
Yep, over to you.
Okay. So welcome everybody to the Empathy Circle today. I am so excited to see each of you here and for each of you to experience this process. It's something that I really believe in. I think that there are so many spaces in this world where greater empathy, greater hearing of each other and what we're really saying could be a balm. So that's my belief, and you all have all shown up today, and I thank you for that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the circle goes. We have a really clear structure. With the four of us, we'll have somebody who starts out as an active speaker, and they're going to speak for about 5 minutes. I'm going to time it for 5 minutes. And is that okay with the time we have left, or should I go like 4? 3? Okay. So each person will go for 3 minutes. I'll time that on my phone here. And the first person who goes will talk in little chunks, if you will. They'll say something, and then once they've completed an idea, if they would pause and allow the first active listener to reflect back to them what it is that they heard. The active listener's role then is to actively listen and either paraphrase, summarize, or otherwise reflect back what that person said. The speaker then has the opportunity to either say, yes, you got that, or actually you got these parts, but I'd like to clarify this part if they feel like the listener had something that needed to be clarified in what they reflected back. And so that'll go on in sort of chunk by chunk and getting out the ideas for 3 minutes. Then I'll be the first active listener, just to model for you all what that process looks like. Whoever's the listener then becomes the active speaker and chooses another person to be their listener. We'll go around the circle for, in this case, 20 minutes. And what we hope is that everybody gets a turn. So you can choose anybody, of course, that you want to listen to you, but we also want to be mindful that everybody's included in the process. So does anybody have any questions before we just jump right into the process? Oh, the question. You're going to want to know what it is you're discussing today, right? So what I'd love for you to discuss is, if you're an experienced facilitator, I'd like for you to talk about a challenge you faced in the past that you actually wish you'd done differently. And if you're someone who hasn't been a facilitator as much, if you would think of something maybe just in life that you might be able to apply to facilitation, and what is a challenge you had in communicating with someone that you now wished you'd done differently? Gives you a little more to think about. So is that question clear for everybody? Any other questions about the process before we go in? If not, I'm going to set this for 3 minutes. Who would like to be our first active speaker? Would anybody volunteer for that?
I think Edwin was next.
Ooh.
He missed his turn.
Would you
I
like
got
to
speak? I'll do it, but since Sally volunteered me.
You got volunteered, mister. Yes, so wonderful. And Edwin, I'll be listening to you, and I will, just to let you know when time is approached, I'll hold up this time card. You can, of course, finish your thought there. and I'll finish reflecting, and then we'll go to the next person. So you can go ahead and start.
Okay, so I wasn't actually 100% clear of the topic, but for usually I don't really care because I just kind of say whatever I want to say anyway. So I sort of got a little, not, yeah, what came to me is, I started this work on empathy about 14 years ago, and now I'm 65, and I really wish I would have started it when I was like 18 or 20, so that's a little bit of like, wow, if I had started way back then, think of all what I could have really accomplished. Yeah.
So you weren't as clear on the question, actually, and I could really clarify that. Well, that's an aside. What you would like to talk about is that you started this process many years ago, and now you're 65, and you actually wish you had started when you were 18 or 20.
Yeah.
I
started like 14 years ago, maybe, just kind of coming across empathy as a value. And so if I would have, I didn't have the vocabulary and all the background with it. It takes time to develop that and to, develop the different practices and so forth. So yeah, I think it sort of addresses what you're saying a little bit with your question, is that it's like a decision. It wasn't a decision. It was like, hey, I didn't know about this way back then, but I don't know if it's not really a regret, but sort of would have been pretty cool if I would have been doing it for, 40 years or something. Could have really done a lot in this field.
Yeah, so you started this work 14 years ago, and because developing the process, developing the vocabulary, developing the method, all of it, all those pieces really take time to marinate and to grow. You're just thinking of, not necessarily a regret, but you're just thinking of what would have been possible had you started as a really young man and had all these years for that to grow out and build.
Yeah, so if there's reincarnation, hopefully next time around, I'll kind of learn it and, start earlier next time. So yeah, that's it. But I think I think it's a really important kind of what we're doing here, the empathy, and it can be really transformational and can really have a real impact on humanity. So, it would have been, yeah.
So it sounds like you, if there's incarnation, you sure hope you can start from the beginning on this one next time around and keep building. And for you, it's just such an important thing for society, for the world, and that you just hope to really keep building this work because of its deep importance.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely feel deeply heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will be the next speaker then, and I will time myself and ask Sally if you'd be willing to be my listener.
Sure.
Great. Okay. I will time myself, hold up time on myself, and be the speaker. So let's see if I can spin plates. So here's the timer. So, Sally, one of the things, so I'm in the less experienced facilitator piece. And so as the question I put out for less experienced facilitators was, what's something, a challenge that I've faced before that I wish I had treated differently or done something differently. And so for me, that's really, there have been times in the past as a professor where somebody said something really pretty offensive and I didn't quite know what to say. And so I kind of either stumbled over it or I moved on to something else. And I'd like to do that differently now.
So you're kind of a first-time facilitator. So you're moving into the context as a professor, and that you were in a position, maybe with a student or grad student, where you maybe there was a conflict and you would have liked to have done that differently. So now you're looking at that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I actually did was create a training around that. So I'm thinking of, I do race, class, gender, and sexual inequalities work. And so when somebody said something that actually maybe they don't know, but it's pretty racist or sexist or ableist, I realized that feeling of feeling frozen and not knowing what to say. And so I both tried to figure out what to say and then do trainings with people about how they can handle that kind of moment.
So as a professor, you're dealing with race, class, sexism, and equality.
Mm-hmm.
And in context of that, you're developing trainings as to how you can work with your students to have them work with people on those issues effectively.
Partially, our time is almost up. So let me say that absolutely you had a big part of that, right? So just to add, you said I do race and class. Absolutely. I also do gender and sexualities. There's the timer. I also do gender and sexualities work. And so when one of my students in class says something pretty offensive, that's kind of sexist, kind of racist, kind of ableist, I really had to puzzle through to try to help other teachers figure out how to address those moments.
Okay, so you mentioned gender and sexuality and that which is composed within that area, and that in working with other teachers when people say offensive things in class, how to address it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in your university.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Thank you so much, Sally. I feel very heard. So Sally, then as the listener, now you'll rotate into an active speaker's role. If you just choose someone to speak for you. I wonder if Ben
is are you hiding?
Oh, my turn, is it? I'm actually really enjoying sleeping. So you could just, like, if you can choose someone else, it's all right. I'm just all right here. Thanks.
Well, okay, Sally. Oh, Sally, what do you think? What is your preference about who you'd like to have listen to you?
Well, I think just give Ben his opportunity for a nap. And I'd really like to talk to Edwin anyway. Sorry, Ben.
I'm listening.
What's the active listener? Let me just ask a quick question. Ben, could I ask you a question real quickly?
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I just didn't sleep that well. It's just really nice, kind of relaxing here. I feel quite warm and just kind of vaguely aware of you speaking.
Oh, so let me ask you this. Even while you have your eyes closed, I wonder if you'd be able to do the silent listening role still. Would you be able to close your eyes and maybe listen, even though Edwin is the active listener?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Sally and Edwin, if you want to go ahead and get started, I'll time you.
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
No problem at all. I'll clarify it better on the front.
We'll just say something threw me for a loop.
No, absolutely. So when what is a challenge you've faced in the past that you actually wished you'd addressed differently?
Right. As a facilitator, I think you said, and since I have done this for a couple months, I'm just gonna say I am a terrible listener. I don't listen. I don't pay attention. And, oh, I'm sorry. I'll talk softly, Ben, really softly. Just go back to sleep.
It's all right. I want to be awake. No, that wasn't why I was waking up. Actually, I've decided I want to. Decided I want to join in.
Okay, so I am so sorry.
Carry on, Sally. Carry on. It's okay.
Yeah, I am a terrible listener. I don't.
You're not. I've been with this in you. I've heard you listen. You're a really good listener. Why would you say that?
You all to pause for a moment, because at this moment, Sally is the active speaker and Edwin's the active listener. So Ben, if you wouldn't mind, you're the silent listener this time.
Silent listener. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Sally.
Well, I'll just reflect back what I'm hearing so far. You just feel you're a bad listener, Sally.
Well, yeah, no, I'm a terrible listener.
Terrible, not a bad. You're like terrible. It's like horrible.
Yeah.
Kind of like the worst.
Yeah, and so anyway, that's why I'm here actually. And yeah, I want to improve in my skill as being an active listener. And sometimes I just get, I just get lost.
I don't think that's actually fair. I don't think it's empathy. Like if Edwin is like saying, Sally, you're the worst listener. It's like, I don't think that's acceptable.
Ben, actually, I'm going to step in and just say, you know what? Edwin was actually just reflecting back to Sally. So I wonder.
No, he's not. Sally didn't say she was the worst listener.
She actually, I think it's probably up to Sally to say what word she used. Sally, would you mind to reiterate what word you feel comfortable with in saying about your listening skills?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I feel pretty good, but I'm the kind of person, I get lost in a book and nothing will distract me. And it's kind of like the same with sleeping. And when I pay attention to a TV or anything, I'm there. Nobody can talk to me. No sounds come in.
So you really get focused on things. If you're reading a book, you really focus and just not aware of what's going around you. The same thing with the TV. You really focus. You're not aware of what's going around you. You just see that that's sort of kind of part of who you are, and you're wanting to get better at listening. You don't feel like you're good at it, but you like to really. That's why you're here, is because you want to get better at the listening part.
Yeah, thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay.
Great. Edwin, you're the next active speaker. Would you like to choose somebody to be?
Yeah, I'll speak to Ben.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I can listen.
Yeah, I don't even know why you're here, Ben. Like, if you're not going to pay attention
don't start,
to
Edwin,
people,
just don't start.
It's like, geez, it's like, come on, Ben. It's like, why you even bother being here? I mean, you can just leave, as far as I'm concerned.
Gentlemen, if I could.
Actually, I'm not going to listen. I can't listen to Edwin. Sorry.
I'm gonna actually pause here. I think, and you all tell me if I'm right, I think something may have happened when Sally said, I'm not a great listener. I can't remember the exact adjective she used. Edwin reflected it back. And Ben, I think that you thought that Edwin was actually not offering empathy. I'm noticing that as a moment that happened. And I just want to ask us to all pause for a moment, maybe in this exchange, and say, in my experience, if we refrain from commenting on each other's process, we will have a debrief at the end, and you could speak whatever's alive for you. But if we would just really trust the process for the moment, and have just the Edwin will offer what he's thinking, and Ben, if you would be able to just pause for a moment and reflect that back instead of commenting or offering anything else. Do you feel like that might be something we could just try for another couple of minutes?
Actually, yeah, I really appreciate what you're trying to do and sort of do something with this, but I just don't think I can listen.
Am I hearing this? Then, Ben, would you like to pass over the active listener role for the moment? Would you like to pass that to Sally?
Yes.
Or to me. Sally, would you like to listen, or would you like for me to listen?
I'll choose you, Cynthia. So just since you're the experienced one here.
Okay.
Yeah, I just find, I don't know why Ben is even here. You know, it's just, if he's not interested in taking part, I don't know why he's even here. I mean, he could just leave as far as I'm concerned.
So, and when I hear you saying you just have some,
Why do you have to talk about me? I don't want you to talk about me in the space. Like, just talk about something else.
So Ben, if you wouldn't mind, and I promise you we'll have time for debrief, but if you wouldn't mind to just let me reflect back what I heard from Edwin, and this will just take a moment for a pause for you. I would, if you can grant me that, I would just really thank you. Edwin, I hear you saying you're questioning the motives of one of our participants, and you feel really concerned about his intentions for being here, wonder why he's here, and I hear you saying, if it were up to you, he would leave the circle.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, exactly. And it's like we're all here because we want to be here. If you don't want to be here, you know, if you want to go sleep and go do other things, and don't kind of be respectful of everyone else.
And so for you, I hear you saying, we're all here because we want to be here. If you don't want to be here, you want to sleep, or you want to step outside the process, then or do something different than what the structure suggests, then why would you even be here? And for you, your preference would be anyone who doesn't want to be here, leave, and then everyone who wants to be here, stay.
Exactly. Yeah, it seems so obvious. Yeah. So yeah, I feel heard. Thanks.
Well, thank you for that, Edwin. I appreciate that. And thank you, Ben, for taking that pause at the end and being able to hear what I'm sure could be really hard feedback to receive. It is, in fact, about you. I would actually like to suggest, as we move into our next rounds, that instead of naming anyone else in the circle or focusing on their behaviors or what it is that they're talking about, that we try to actually move it to, when you are discussing what's alive for you, that we actually move it to what you would like to see then, if you have comment on anyone's behavior in that. You can also at any time privately message me as the facilitator. I'd be happy to try to address whatever's going on.
Yeah, that's great. I just want to name, we're at the end of the 20-minute arc. There's 5 or 6 minutes till closing, so maybe that's a good place to stop and reflect and debrief. And how did that go, Cynthia?
You all, that was hysterical. I mean, talk about the teamwork challenge. It was just hysterical. I was like doing everything that I could to try to bring us back to the practice and address the Ben, you're the one who's like, I'm sleeping. Now I'm going to start commenting. Now I'm interrupting. And then Edwin's doing I'm calling this out. I'm naming this guy and I don't even want him here. So that gave to me a high level of challenge, which I just, it felt absolutely fine to do what I did. It just, I just did whatever I thought might pinpoint where the problem was and where we were getting off structure and how to kind of move forward. So it felt pretty good. It just was, it was hysterical, the level of challenge that built between you two. So I was running as fast as I can.
Edwin, any thoughts? Any impact?
That was a lot of fun. I enjoy. I was really enjoying that. I would say there's one thing is in the circle you can say whatever you want, so you are free. So it's not like, hey, don't do this, don't do that, when it's your turn, right? So it's really about I would just the thing is to hold the process. Yeah. And, you did pretty good, for holding the process. And it was a real, it's fun to have real life challenges like that. So, yeah.
and honestly, I went to something that I do in my class, which is like no name calling, no blah, blah, blah. But frankly, as I was saying it, I was like, look, it's your turn. So no, I can refrain from that, but keep it to like, then let's wait for when it's your turn. Edwin, keep going, blah, blah, blah. And that's challenging when somebody's literally calling out another person in the group saying, I want you to leave. So
yeah, and you took over the listening, which that worked. And then I wasn't feeling heard by Ben. But I felt very heard by you. And then, so that for me, that felt really good. Like, oh, somebody's really hearing me, and
yeah. Good.
Ali, anything to add? Any impact? Any thoughts? Any debrief?
Thank you. I've never seen or heard anything so shocking and terrifying. And I think she just asked for a 3, not a 5. So kudos to you, not Elizabeth, Cynthia. And wow, you pulled it off fantastically. I can't believe that you knew how to handle it so early on in your training here. I'm just really impressed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Sally. Ben, any thoughts?
Any thoughts? There was something, yeah. I was interested to see, when I was saying I didn't want to listen to Edwin, I was interested to see whether you would ask me again or whether you would take that on. I was interested to see which way you would go. And I'd love to clarify with Edwin. So you're saying in that kind of situation, Edwin, that what you would want to do is to let the speaker really say anything and speak about what was happening in the circle. And then if there was somebody that wasn't able to listen to that, make their own choice about whether to disengage. Is that how you would play it?
It's stepping in. I mean, as a facilitator, I would have tried to get you to reflect back. I would have said, oh, Ben, just try reflecting back, just try, and give it a several tries. And then it's like, I'm just so frustrated. I have no capacity. If you would have said that, then to move to, okay, I can reflect and sort of do it. So, but I really would try to get you to do as much. And then say, Ben, one thing I say is, Ben, you're going to have a chance to say, we want to hear whatever you have to say. You will get heard to your satisfaction. But first, listen to Edwin, fully hear Edwin, and then you'll get to say whatever you want, and you'll be heard to your full satisfaction.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so that takes us to time. It's just about, must be about a minute or two away from coming back into the main room. Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm just closing the rooms. Yeah.
Great job on the challenges, gentlemen. Seriously.
Good job of handling them, Cynthia and Sally.
I would say, hit them both with a wet noodle, but hot wet noodle.
That's the Sally method of facilitation.
Sally method. The Sally method.
The hot noodle approach.
The hot noodle. There must be an emoji for that, right?
Not yet, but
reaction emoji for that. Yeah. Wet noodle. Thank you so much, Ben and Edwin, for leading this set of challenges.
Yeah, thanks, Ben, for holding it.
Yeah, thanks for co-holding it with me, and yeah, good to meet you, Cynthia and Sally, and yeah, see you next time. Have a great holiday, and
yeah,
see you.
It was a blast.
Yeah, that was really fun. Oh my gosh.
How many more minutes do we have?
30 minutes.
Okay,
30.
take a nap. It's fine. Beep, beep, bye, beep, beep. Sorry to say to my pets.
Oh, wait, Edwin, I have a question. I was recording my session, but I didn't stop it. So
oh, you can hit the stop record. You need the, yeah, if we're recording, you can go under and hit the stop recording.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. I think Michelle, you were doing this part.
You're muted, Michelle.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, I just lost the script, so I'll just come straight into the debrief. So we're into, sorry, I don't know, a little bit off script. So we're into the final debrief where we'll go to each person and just spend about 30 seconds just asking how your experience was with the breakout circle. So
We have
I'll
a
start.
minute, about a minute, Michelle. Just for this
Yeah,
part.
sorry, thanks. Thanks very much. So we'll have, yeah, a minute per person. So Mina, would you like to share first?
Sorry.
You're muted, Mina.
Yep. We had a wonderful session. I really got a couple of things out of it, which I said at the end of our session. And one of the things that was brought up was, how do you be empathetic towards, or show empathy towards somebody who lies a lot and who's delusional, and someone in our group said that that you do it without sort of judgment, and but you still maintain, you be flexible enough to maintain the structure, and without being judgmental. So that was my big takeaway. And the other the other thing that I learned in this session was that I'm still too much in my head where I'm listening, but I'm thinking about what I'm going to respond. I'm going to remember what to say back, rather than just listen and absorb and then respond. So that was an interesting discussion we had.
Gorgeous. Prasanna, would you like to share next?
Yes. So practice makes a person perfect. So this was my third empathy circle. It was amazing to get that opportunity to really facilitate. And I took a challenge which was like people not following instructions, because it's very hard for me to how to hold on or how to let go and control and not speak. I took out that challenge. So it was very nice, because I got a lot of tips later on that how can I actually manage it, and got to practice that also. I feel more confident now. So thanks for the opportunity. And yeah, I was looking forward to the session for 1 week.
Ralph, would you like to share next?
Well, the metaphysics of the meta comment of wanting to get to know you people who I'm coming to see are a very loving, kind, and intelligent, sensitive group of people. And then in these sessions, getting to know Dominic and Lou better as multiple personalities. So I had to process that, and we did some debriefing, and now we're back. I relished the challenges and the feedback about how well or not I did. Maybe the last the last comment is the best takeaway for me, and that is I want people to like me. I want everybody to be happy. But I was in a situation where the happiness of one person threatened the happiness of the rest of the group, and I see that's going to be coming up in the future, and how to direct that with kindness, but to be firm and directive, and even to the point of saying to somebody, this is not the place for you or the time for you right now. Yeah, so it was great.
Thanks, Ralph. Kathy, would you like to share next?
So the challenges were very interesting. The first challenge I got, I was like, what's going on here? I didn't realize that it was a challenge. And it was very jarring. It took us out of that safe space. So it was good to get that practice. And one of the things we were talking about is this empathy circle is about not doing but being. It's where you're coming from in your, in your core, from your heart. So even if I don't get everything correct, like in the beginning explaining things, the experience of it will teach, and then coming from the heart will teach and allow people to go deeper into their own experience of themselves and their experience of other people too. So yeah, it was a beautiful circle.
Thank you, Kathy. Dominic, would you like to share next?
Yeah, sure. I guess echoing Ralph, the biggest takeaway I had was something Lou said about like, we're wondering if there's someone who just needs to like lead the circle who isn't cooperating, and like we've given them gentle reminders, like how do we go about that? And maybe Lou can talk about it more, but that's something I took away. And then I just want to share appreciation for Ralph, because I know it was probably extremely frustrating to deal with us playing characters and just switching in and out. We kept timing in, timing out, and it was unclear if I was, some challenging person or myself. So yeah, it was fun though.
Thanks, Dominic. Sally, would you like to share next?
Well, I think the main thing that came to me was a discovery about myself, that it's not that I'm a terrible listener, that I am just so deep in thought and studying whatever it is that's in front of me, that I miss the conversations around me. And so I think I can build on that and learn to listen in a group rather than, focus on a book or whatever. And so it was very helpful for me.
Eric, would you like to share?
Gosh. There's something that's emerging for me in my life that keeps coming up in lots of different ways, and it's coming up through this like today's session of like, I think what it is so far, or what I'm clear about so far, is like I have spent so much time holding what I might call like the yang energy, like a container, and like the mechanics and stuff, that it was kind of a big deal. I was like, I don't want any challenges, and I just want to like I don't even want to. And we got to this really beautiful space where I was the facilitator, but it was just like this beautiful energy flowing. And I was like, this is what I want. Like, I don't even want to be facilitating really. Like, I just want to be like enjoying and like the pleasure with other people who are skilled at this, because I spend so much time in that other energy. So it's just another message of like, okay, there's something that's being asked for in my life, and I'm still kind of like following it around.
Cool. Cool. Thanks so much, Eric. Cynthia, would you like to share?
Yes, I had a wonderful experience with Edwin, Ben, and Sally in my group. Let me first say that Ben and Edwin are excellent at playing the roles of coming at each other, one telling the other they need to leave the group, and is this guy for real? All those kinds of things. That was very hysterical, actually. And I'm the one who had to deal with it. And here's something I realized. I was comfortable trying different things, but it's different than when I'm a college professor. So in my college professor role, when somebody is calling another person a name and saying, you need to leave, and this guy, it's, I have ground rules of these are the ways to talk to each other. And Edwin made it really clear when I made that corrective that actually, when it's the person's time to be an active speaker, they may say anything they want. And so my kind of pulling Edwin back from saying those things about character Edwin and character Ben, was actually, and stepping in at a moment and becoming the reflective listener when Ben was really combative at Edwin instead. I learned some things about, let the person who's time to speak truly speak, whatever it is they want to say, and let that person, keep encouraging that person who won't reflect, who's speaking back, who's reacting back, keep encouraging that person to occupy the role, because I'm used to being in the role of, I'm going to stop this right now. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to now do the process. And instead it's like encouraging the process from the folks who are having a pretty hard time with wanting to enact their roles. So they gave me a high level challenge and I laughed a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it's so much fun. Love it. Dominic, would you like to share?
Oh yeah, I already went.
Oh, so, yeah, sorry. Okay, cool. Nice. I'll we'll move into the training. So I might just share briefly that yeah, I'm just really grateful to the people on our circle. It was there was like so many elements of excellent skills and like really good process and flow, but just like moments of real beauty and depth. And yeah, it was really lovely and some really, really, really fun challenges. So yeah, it was cool. Yeah. Graham, would you like to share?
Yes, thank you, Michelle. I enjoyed almost everything that took place during our little session. It was all very quiet, all very calm. And though we put through some relatively low-level challenges, some of the circumstances, like for example, internet reliability was creating a lot of challenges, particularly for Prasanna. And she coped with that well. And yeah, it was just fun. I just enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the whole idea of it being a calm session. And yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Prasanna. It was Mina was the other person, and Bill, thank you for your support. It was good. Thank you.
Cool. Ben, would you like to share?
Yeah, it was a great circle for me the first time speaking with Cynthia and Sally. So enjoyed meeting those and seeing their approach and seeing how they were bringing themselves to the circle. And like in some ways kind of felt like definitely out of my comfort zone because, like keeping track of time and trying to make some challenges and trying also to listen and sort of stay connected to empathy stuff. That felt, felt like a new place to be in and a challenging place to be in. In some ways, kind of very gentle, beautiful circle. Other ways, there's kind of a, little bit of disorientation and confusion. So yeah, an interesting space. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Cool. Larry, would you like to share?
Yeah, it was a truly amazing circle. And it was like we were holding the safe space like an oasis in an infinite universe for humanity to birth itself in this amazing, miraculous experience of life. It was really, truly an amazing circle. Michelle held this space of allowing us to be vulnerable and expand that. And everyone's contributions were just, beyond words. So I love what we're doing here. And I want to continue, expanding this circle of empathy. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry, and yeah, thanks for being our trainer. It was really a lovely circle. Lou, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. So I was in the circle with Dominic and Ralph, and it was fabulous. Dominic did a great job of holding the breakout, and Ralph did a wonderful job of facilitating and dealing with challenges. We had a lot of stop and start, calling timeouts to talk about what was happening. And I think a lot of learning came from that. And I had a lot of fun playing roles. Ralph mentioned multiple personalities. So Dominic and I both played roles at different times. And that's always a lot of fun for me because I'm a pretty well-behaved person. So it's really fun stepping out. And I also think it's also beautiful. I think it's very beautiful when people use their understanding of, or use their life experience of difficulties and challenges and things that happen and the way people are in conflict. When we use that experience and that knowledge to help other people learn by playing roles, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Ooh, that sounds like a great circle. Bill, would you like to share?
Sure. Well, I'm always touched by the effort that everybody brings to this. We as a species, we face severe challenges, and I believe that it starts with empathy, an empathic discussion in order to fix the problems. And so I really appreciate what everybody brings and making themselves vulnerable and stuff. And I'm really so grateful for that. Yeah, I really enjoyed, there's always another aspect, like talking about, like when a person is obviously lying, what do? You don't want to just accept all the lying, but how do you, maintain your impartiality in a way and empathy. So it was really instructive. So I just come away with appreciation for everybody. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Bill. Edwin?
Yeah, we had some real fun role playing. I just really enjoy the role playing because I think it's like Lou saying, yeah, I'm usually pretty, nice guy. My family wouldn't say so. but it's like the role play is a chance to really kind of be nasty, just kind of channel some of that deeper frustration. Sometimes when I do the role play, I feel sort of self-conscious about it, and it doesn't feel real. But this time it's like I could really tap into like a deep energy and then really bring it out. And the role play had a real kind of an authenticity to it that, I don't know, just it was a lot of fun. And I can really see the benefits of being an actor. I can see why actors, kind of enjoy it. You just get to live out these different ways of being. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. So thanks everyone in my group. Really appreciated all the learning and the connection and the role playing and stuff.
Yeah. Down with empathy. Build it. Yeah, I've completely messed up the script, by the way, so I don't know who I'm handing over to or anything, Edwin. Yeah.
Ben.
I think you're handing over to
Ben.
me. Yeah, so
I'm handing over to you. Yeah, I lost the script before the session. Sorry, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. So final comments from trainers. Edwin.
I've got one. Yeah, we have a cohort starting next Saturday, and if any one of you want to take part, I think Ralph is taking part, and I think Kathy said she was. I'm not sure if I was right about that too. So check in with me, Kathy, on that. So also, if you have a chance to promote the cohort, there's a bunch of links to Facebook and LinkedIn events that really appreciate it if you could, kind of send some notices, invite your friends, even if they don't take part. It's good just to sort of ping them. Maybe if they don't take part right away, a couple of months or even a year down the line, maybe that they will. So, and there'll be something about that in the email that I send out about how to promote the course and just get the word out about it. So that's what I got. Thanks.
Lou?
Yeah, so I had two things I want to say. So one was Edwin's comment about acting. So I actually think that it takes a lot of empathy to be a good actor or role player. Because what I do is I ask myself, what would I be needing to be thinking and feeling in order to behave this way? And that really means entering the world of another person. And so empathy is involved there to do it. And then the second point, I wanted to say something about what Dominic said about how to ask a person to leave the circle with empathy. And I think that involves understanding what's going on for them. So engaging them in an empathic dialogue where you say something like, so what's going on with you that you're doing this, you're behaving this way? And in the circle that we were playing, the person just wanted to have fun. Like they were trying to play, they were trying to be playful, and they were doing something very distracting. And their desire to play was so strong that they didn't want to stop when they were being asked, well, what you're doing is distracting. I'm worried that it's going to be distracting other people. Would you be willing to stop that? And the person said, well, no, I'm bored. I really have a desire to play. And then say something like, well, that's important. Play is like, yeah, I totally understand that. And there are other people here too, and their needs are important also. So your needs are important, but so are everyone else's. And so if you really have a need to play, then maybe you should go play someplace else, because that's not what we're doing here right now. Mm-hmm. So that's the way and then if they don't agree to leave, you say, well, so I'm going in the interests of trying to hold everyone's needs, I'm gonna remove you from the circle because you're making your needs more important than everyone else's.
Thanks, Lou. Yeah, Bill.
Just I always, it brings back to me the thing of balance of as you practice, you can start to process like balancing the need for a person to feel heard with the need for everybody to be heard. And so that's the kind of the art of facilitation, and that becomes easier with practice, and that's it.
Could I tack on to that and to Lou to end by saying, Dominic, this may not be the time for you to be here, but not to imply that this is not the place for you to be here, or that you don't qualify and will be a wonderful trainer one day.
Nice.
I just add a piece to that, Ben. One thing, if you know that people it may be a troubling, maybe people who don't want to follow the practice, like sometimes you already know in advance. I will say, here's the process. Does this work for everyone? And I get a thumbs up. And I do that especially in mediation, so that everyone has given an explicit agreement that this is the process that we're going to follow. And then I can refer back and say, oh, we all had agreed to do this process and you've given an agreement. So I can refer back to that kind of explicit agreement. So that's just another tip. I usually don't say it in the average, empathy circle in the beginning, but if I know there's possibly problems, I'll kind of add that little layer as an extra support. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Edwin. Yeah, that sounds useful. Larry, did I see that you no? Looks like no. And any other trainer final comments? No. Okay. Well, yeah. So just to review what we did in this session, then. So what did we do in this session? So I think all of us, apart from the room facilitators, I think we probably all facilitated an empathy circle with challenges. So like looking after the structure and vending of challenges and learning from that. And we've been debriefing just now and learning from our experiences of that. I'm posting in the chat a feedback form, which we would love you to give us some feedback on about your experience or ideas about the process. And what is coming up next week, session 4. So session 4 is pretty similar to this. So I guess also practicing the intro, plus or minus challenges. So the structure is pretty similar. Meanwhile, in the week between now and next Monday, assignments. So I think Edwin's going to send out an email, feedback, empathy buddy call, and an empathy circle, asking you to facilitate an empathy circle. That brings us to Lou.
Yeah, just a little correction, Ben. We won't be practicing intros next week. So we'll have more time for facilitation practice because we won't be doing intros.
Without the how-to. Yep, I can see that. Yep, I misread that. Yes.
Sorry, Ben, and Sally has her hand raised for the last while also. Yeah,
same. Yeah, I was trying to point towards Sally as well.
Cool.
This is directed at Michelle for on the 11th. It would be Pacific time at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. British. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I just wasn't
sure. Of you there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just as at closing, just asking all of you to post in the chat, one thing you're feeling in this moment after all this. What are you leaving with? See gratitude, at peace, feeling happy, feeling gratitude, also feeling peace, feeling hungry, feeling appreciation, feeling deeply fulfilled, feeling eager, guessing for next week, feeling grateful, exclamation mark. Ready for my bike ride. Thanks. So we can finish with jazz hands and
see you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Hold those empathy buddy calls and try to hold a circle in between.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care. See you next
Bye,
week.
Cynthia.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
Edward and
Prasanna.
Brad, you were amazing. Thank you.
See you, Ralph.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Sally.
Bye, Sally.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. It was really amazing.
Thanks, Sally.
Thank you, Graham.
So bio break.
Yeah, Bill, you were up for this.
Yeah, I am up.
Wake
that.
up!
I know. I just was checking the script.
Ben. Ben was sleeping in our other group. That was his challenge he was giving, just kind of sleeping. So,
all right, bio
okay,
break.
bio
I
break.
can do that. Yes.
I need one.
Okay, how are we doing here? All right, looks like we're all back. And so I'll go around and we'll start to just say, how is your experience? I like, I wish, what if? And I'll start with Ben.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think it went well. I think something that is on my mind is about preparation. So like I'm just realizing personally that kind of coming into, for example, these kind of or coming into anything really can be useful to prepare. So I fell in some ways kind of with my spontaneity and kind of setting challenges, and had actually looked through the list of challenges, which somebody has compiled very carefully. It looks like there's more to do there. Yeah, one learning point for me is how would it have been better if I had been more prepared? Yeah, I think that's all that's there at the moment.
Okay, great. Graham?
I enjoyed having a good solid 95 minutes. And in the beforehand, I made little notes as to how we were going to structure the format. So, and I followed that reasonably. And that was really relieving that I'd made those little plans and we stuck to them. And so for my part in the thing, I felt that things went well. But the other thing is that life was easy, and I enjoyed it. But I'm saying life was easy because I'm essentially with skilled and well-intentioned participants. It is quite different when you're, like, for example, on a Saturday, you get some people who come in for the first time and they're wanting to tell you all about themselves and everything else, and they just will not shut up. They will not create chunks in their speech, and these people can be very, very difficult to influence. So what we were experiencing today was really mild, but a pleasure. Maybe also it's good, because when it comes to getting the tough cases, like on a Saturday, we just have that little bit more mellowness that enables us to cope with what's happening. Anyway, so I enjoyed today and look forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thanks, Graham. Lou?
Yeah, I thought the session went well today. I really enjoyed being in Breakout with Dominic, and I really appreciate your clarity and your attention to detail. You know, you're tracking the way you track stuff. It's beautiful. I think I made a couple of notes about, also Dominic, I thought you did a great job with the check-ins, working to keep them short. And you had your little sign, which was good. But you also showed judgment, like if someone was going a little over, you didn't give them a sign, like you gave them some breathing room. But then if they really went on too long, you were trying to hold them to something, which is great that you were not too rigid about it. I do think that it's interesting, and this is not just a comment for you, Dominic, I do think it's interesting to see what happens when, so the check-in is given, till you can talk about these things, and then somebody talks about something really pretty different. And then other people start chiming in on the different theme, like the theme, how people respond to other people in the check-ins, I think is really interesting to see how it influences the trend of it. And you did a nice job, Dominic, after like 2 people talked about the thing, you restated the questions. You kind of brought people back to what we were asking for in the check-in. And I think that's very skillful. I also got this insight that one of the ways we could control or have more influence over the amount of time for check-ins is that when we check in, we can be very short. So that if the check-in is going long, then the trainers who are checking last, we could also shorten what we do as a way of controlling or helping to stay on time. Let's see, what else did I say? Oh, there's also the problem, so the problem of starting on time. So I noticed like we didn't really start check-ins till about 3 minutes after, maybe 5 minutes after, which is, if we're trying to stay on time, that makes it difficult. And we talked about this, I guess, in the pre-thing, to open the circle a little early. So I think that's good, like to have the goal of stopping opening the door somewhere between 5 minutes and 3 minutes beforehand so that people have a chance to come in. And I got this idea, what if we sat in silence? What if we said that the first, as opposed to just like what happened today was someone started talking about something and that became a whole thing and it went on for a bit. And so one idea I had was that we could say that we're sitting in silence when the class starts. It's an idea. I'm not saying we should do it, but it's one idea of what to do with that beginning period while we're waiting for people to come in. I think that's it.
Okay, Dominic?
Yeah, thanks, Lou, for all the feedback. Happy to hear it. I was like, for the check-ins, it seemed like a delicate balance of like, if someone's saying something meaningful, I don't want to cut them off and kind of be I don't know. So I always think about that. So I guess, but I liked our session of 3. And it was a little strange because 3 seemed to be like, one participant, it was very focused on Ralph, which was nice because, I got to know him. But like the last training, we had 4 people and the vibe is very different. It's more free flowing and it moves. We kept stopping. And but I felt like it was nice to get a deep dive into like, just like helping Ralph out. And, what if is like, for me, I wonder if I could have the challenges listed. I know it's there, but I should pull it up before next session because I think I got a little uncreative, or I wasn't very creative about how I was giving the challenges. So yeah, but it was a good session. I'm looking forward to next week.
Thanks, Dominic. Michelle?
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, I realized today the power of the empathy of the body sessions. Like, so I would not have made it through today's training if I hadn't had some body calls this week. I was really grateful for them. I had my confidence knocked last week and it was knocked again at the beginning of the session today. And I was just not like able to, it just threw me and it has, and it affected, when we got to the breakout session was really lovely. And I'm really grateful that it was like, like easy because the participant, both of them are brilliant. And we, like Larry was like doing trainer and had like some like fun challenges and stuff. So it was a really, as breakouts go, it was easy, thank goodness. Which brought things back in that it was okay, like by the time we got back to the debrief. But I guess, I struggled today. I know that, so I'm hoping that this is going to pass. So I have this kind of last 2 sessions, this kind of recurring trigger that I just need to kind of stay with it. And I'm finding, that body process is really, really helping me to move through it. And I'm really, really, really grateful for it. So, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Larry?
Yeah, our session was just amazing today. The phrase sacred space was an absolute reality in this empathy circle. And like Michelle said, our participants were well skilled in empathy and very much interested in living empathically. And it's just an amazing circle. And there was a lot of vulnerability that opened the space even deeper. And then I did the challenges, and it was trying, of course, not to be obnoxious, but it's interesting when you're in that empathic space. If someone just opens the mic and says hello, it's shocking because you're in this almost meditative state, and then there's someone talking to you. It's like strange. But we all valued that it's good to go through that process of noticing that you can get knocked out of the empathic space and then recover it, come back to it. And it's really good to practice that coming back into balance, kind of like being surfing and almost falling off and regaining your balance and then continuing to surf and practice that. It's just an amazing circle. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. And Edwin, and I just want to know, we're still recording, Edwin, so.
Oh,